Today is the eve of the Holocaust Memorial Day in Israel. So there are stories in the newspapers about Holocaust victims, and sometimes there's also stories about people who acted in courage. So I would like to share a family story that I found out only recently. This is a great aunt of the father of my three children. I was married to a Dutch man, not Jewish, and I found out years after the divorce that his great aunt is a righteous Gentile, was a righteous Gentile who was recognized in 1967. So this is a project that started in 1963 in the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem, and in order to be recognized as a righteous Gentile, you had to have documents proving it. And also the people, the Jews that you saved had to come forward and give testimony. So who is Cornelia Blaauw? Let's find out. That's from the father's side. The father of my, the father of, the father of my children. So Holland is the second place in the number of righteous Gentiles who saved Jews during the war. Those are people who risked their lives, and they had documents proving that and testimonies. And they also maintained the Jewish identity of the people they saved. So there were around 5,700 righteous Gentiles recognized in Holland. And let's listen to what Elie Wiesel has to say. In those times, there was darkness everywhere. In heaven and earth, all the gates of compassion seemed to have been closed. The killer killed and the Jews died. The outside world adopted an attitude either of complicity or of indifference. Only a few had the courage to care. These few men and women were vulnerable, afraid, helpless. What made them different from their fellow citizens? Why were they so few? Let us remember, what hurts the victim most is not the cruelty of the oppressor, but the silence of the bystander. Let us not forget, after all, there is always a moment when moral choice is made. And so we must know these good people who helped Jews during the Holocaust. We must learn from them. In gratitude and hope, we must remember them. Elie Wiesel, Courage to Care, when speaking about the rescuers. And here is a picture of her. Just a second. This is a picture. I got all this information from the Holocaust Museum. So here she is standing, and next to this is Nico. This is one of the babies she saved and adopted and raised, and this is a girl that his parents never came back, so she adopted him, and this is a baby that whose parents came for her after the war, and there she is, very elegant, a lady. Where is she? Okay, so let me share the story. So first I have some images of her, beautiful woman, really resembles the family. This is a picture from when she was in Jerusalem, 1967, planting. This is just before the 67 war. Before unification of Jerusalem, she planted a tree. I visited the tree, and unfortunately the tree has been uprooted during the storm, but there's a new tree instead. So this is, if you ever go there, this is B3. This is the number where it stands. It's so the name of the boy that she raised is Nico Wiesjager. He's now a psychologist. I have no information about him. I would like to have more information. And this is the tree when she planted it. And this is her story. So let me read it for you. Blaauw Cornelia Gerhardina. When the war broke out, Cornelia Blaauw, known as Corrie, was in charge of an infant care center in Harlem. She was soon approached by an underground worker and asked if she would shelter a Jewish nurse from Amsterdam. Corrie agreed. In 1943, the nurse asked Corrie if her 7-year-old nephew Ronald could also come and hide with her, and her friend Jacoba von Tricht, with whom she had shared a house. Ronald was also taken in without hesitation. later, she was asked if she would shelter a child soon to be born. Corey again agreed to do so. She never said no. You know, if you were found out, you'd be shot and your whole entire family by the occupying Nazi force. At the end of May 1943, Corey and Jacoba traveled to Amsterdam to pick up 4-week-old Nico Wiesjage. Nico's parents insisted they were young and strong and would be able to survive the atrocities if only the baby could be hidden. That's all they asked for. However, his parents were apprehended and perished in Sobibor. In August 1943, Corey took a short vacation out of town and put Nico in care of another day center where she knew the director personally. Nico's name was not listed in the center's files in order to avoid detection should the Germans inspect the center. Can you imagine what kind of an army does that? Goes and inspects babies? However, a German raid did actually result in Nico's being found out. He was due to be deported. Corey was informed immediately, and she rushed back in order to present herself as the unmarried mother of the infant, whose father, she made up the story, a German officer, had gone to the Eastern Front. Corey claimed that she had not registered the baby because she feared losing her job and that she could prove she had been on sick leave. Thank God they didn't have DNA tests at that time. She insisted that her housemate, a maternity nurse, had assisted with the birth in their home. After an intense effort, can you imagine how much effort these Nazis made to detect Jewish kids? And she was eventually brought around to accepting Corey's story. Following the incident, Corey registered, this is emotional, in her name, but only after she was rebuked by the civil servant on duty for inexcusable conduct. After the war, when it became clear Nico's parents had not survived, he was officially adopted by Corey. In September 1943, Corey also brought a 6-week-old infant to the nursery. Like Nico, this child too stayed until the end of the war, when she was returned to her parents. On May 31st, 1966, actually, Yad Vashem recognized Cornelia Gerhardina Blaauw as righteous among the nations. So it was in 1967. The photo was from 1967. So this is the sign where I found it. Region B3. If you want to visit, this is how I got there. And if you ever visit Yad Vashem, you could visit the tree there. And let's look at some photos of Cornelia. A very, very interesting, this is Cornelia, so elegant. This is her in the Holocaust Museum receiving a medal and certificate, recognizing her as a righteous Gentile. I did more research about her life, and actually what's really interesting, and here is a picture of her. I collected this. I got this from the Yad Vashem. They printed it out for me. This is the man. This is the boy, the baby she took in is 4 weeks old. He's Nico Wiesjage. I would love to find out where he is now. He's a psychologist, I understood, and this is the baby girl that went back to her parents, and here is Cornelia with the parents, the family of the girl. So I just wanted to say, furthermore, that she died in January of the year when my daughter was born. I didn't even know about her. She died in 1996, so that's really like, as the Germans say, the closing of a circle. Peace, light, and love.